because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
People, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not, you know?
Floyd Mayweather has commented on the Gervonta Davis-Lamont Roach rematch. He sounded off on the situation, suggesting that Tank performed badly in the first fight and he should have avoided the rematch. In response, Tank publicly accused Mayweather of being self-centered and unwilling to recognize the success of other fighters. Davis believes Mayweather's reluctance to support the rematch stems from jealousy and a need to stay in the spotlight.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Why the say Terrence Crawford should fight? Finna be there. That don't make no fucking sense. He don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
Who's next in line? This is where you're next in line.
Is there like a
last question I was
is there like a love hate war? Like
Yeah.
fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest. But he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad.
Oh, you're good, man.
And he cause I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
Gervonta Davis's departure from Mayweather Promotions was shrouded in controversy, marked by public disputes and disagreements with Floyd Mayweather. Their fallout highlighted the complexities of the professional relationship, with both men holding differing opinions on how Davis's career should be managed. The very public nature of their split drew attention to the power dynamics within boxing promotions, shedding light on the challenges athletes face when balancing personal autonomy with the backing of influential figures in sport.
They said, I'm not signed to a single soul. So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun, and I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Bernard Hopkins, a legendary figure in boxing, recently shared his thoughts on Gervonta Davis's career. Hopkins believes that Davis needed to break free from the constraints holding him back, referring to the influence and control of Floyd Mayweather Promotions as those chains. He pointed out that Mayweather's dominance over Davis's career prevented him from reaching his full potential. By leaving Mayweather Promotions, Davis gained the freedom to make his own decisions about his fights, including whether or not to pursue a rematch with Lamont Roach. Hopkins believes that this newfound autonomy will allow Davis to flourish as a fighter, enabling him to make choices driven by his own ambitions rather than external pressures.
I commend Tank on saying, hey, this is my career, you had yours. I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet. All that's great, but at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview. You seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not gonna let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my career.
The first fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach was marred by controversy, particularly regarding the officiating. Referee Steve Willis faced heavy criticism for failing to award Roach points during key moments of the fight, with many feeling the referee's actions unfairly influenced the outcome. As a result, the fight ended in a highly disputed draw. In response to the growing criticism, Davis challenged his detractors, suggesting they could settle the dispute with a rematch. He made it clear that he was ready to prove himself once again in the ring, determined to silence any doubts about his skills and abilities. The controversial nature of the first fight created a perfect opening for a rematch, one Davis was more than willing to accept to reaffirm his dominance.
Because I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. You should have seen what's going on. Why I would have, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
It was going off. My assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on it. Like, hey, Steve, the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. He was like, that was a knockdown.
Yeah,
he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60 seconds.
That's how I was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with?
Right.
Take a point. And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all. Nobody. I mean, I've seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
But
Gervonta Davis is eager to set up a rematch with Lamont Roach, fully aware that his reputation was impacted by their first encounter. He views the rematch as an opportunity to assert his dominance, settle unfinished business, and solidify his standing among the top fighters in the world.
We gotta talk about it. So Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against a Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was gonna look at that like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims, got all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's father, expressed surprise at the controversial outcome of the first Davis versus Roach fight, admitting he was caught off guard by how things played out in the ring. Despite this, Jeff emphasized that he's a big fan of Gervonta Davis and didn't view the result as a robbery. However, he acknowledged that Lamont Roach's performance affected Davis's reputation, with fighters who once feared Davis now feeling more confident about facing him. This shift has raised questions about Davis's dominance in the ring.
Roach, first of all, you surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. I was shocked at the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Do you consider it robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. The fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
All right. Talking about this rematch, what do you? I mean, so the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, and not being a big puncher himself, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that could play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day, everybody has an off day, and take him.
Yeah, everybody can have an off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that
the rematch's Las Vegas location pays tribute to the city's rich boxing history, despite some fans' doubts due to Davis's previous fights in Saudi Arabia. Nevertheless, the June rematch is fueling global anticipation for boxing fans everywhere. We need to learn how to care about others. You know what I mean? That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more, and don't forget to share.